On August 2nd, 2022, the Nationals made the biggest trade in franchise history, sending over burgeoning superstar Juan Soto to the San Diego Padres for a massive haul of young players and prospects. And while this did signal a changing of the guard and a dismantling for a team that did end up winning the World Series just 2.5 years prior, the players acquired ultimately did set the Nationals up for years ahead in their rebuild, and have put them in a very enviable spot come the 2025 season. With an exciting young core, especially in the outfield, and a pretty good farm system filled with upper-level stars to make an impact as soon as the season, Nationals fans should not only have optimism that the 2025 season could be a breakout year, but immense optimism for the future of Nats baseball in the near future. This video will cover the projected 2025 lineup and pitching rotation, including what needs to happen for the Nationals to potentially make a postseason run, as well as upcoming prospects over the horizon and moves that could be made this season to make this team much better. But before we get on to this video, could you guys please hit the like and subscribe button? Currently, only 3% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if y'all do, not only will help me grow my channel, but also would encourage me to create more videos like this one for you guys. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. Starting on the lineup side of things, I believe that this lineup runs through James Wood. For the Nationals to make waves come September and October, I think that James Wood has to solidify himself as one of the bright young stars in the league today. The good thing is, he certainly has the talent and minor league pedigree to do just that. Acquired alongside many other young players in the Juan Soto deal, Wood was considered a high upside, low floor type of prospect with a massive frame of 6'7" and tremendous power, coupled with above average athleticism on the base paths and on the field. And in the minor leagues, Wood ended up showcasing much more of that upper echelon potential, becoming the top prospect in all of baseball thanks to a career .302, .402, .539 slash line in the minor leagues with 51 home runs and 58 stolen bases in 283 minor league games. There were some concerns about his ground ball rate, but his other tools were loud enough both offensively and defensively to be considered an elite 5-tool prospect. And when he was called up to the major leagues midway through the 2024 season, he showcased some of those flashes, as well as some areas for improvement. Wood posted an overall great 122 OPS plus in just 79 games, along with 9 home runs and 14 stolen bases. However, he was also a negative defensively and had an untenable 55.6 ground ball rate. Additionally, of his 9 home runs, only 2 of them went to the pole side of the field, showcasing his raw power by hitting 7 opposite field home runs, but also highlighting an area of focus for the 2025 season. I believe with a half season under his belt already, Wood's athleticism can make up for the early jitters defensively, and a simple swing adjustment could cause his elite exit velocities to stop going on the ground as much and more power to come to his pull side. If all of that happens, I wouldn't be surprised for Wood to post a 40 home run, 30 stolen base season, and an MVP caliber campaign for the 22-year-old phenom. He certainly has the measurables to do that. But while Wood definitely takes the headline as the star amongst the Nationals' young core, Dylan Crews definitely has the talent to be the 1B to Wood's 1A. In the inaugural MLB draft lottery, the Nationals would come up just short, acquiring the number 2 overall pick in the 2023 MLB draft. And while this did mean that they would end up missing out on Paul Skeens, they ended up grabbing another player with similar high-level upside in Dylan Crews. While he may not have the jaw-dropping power like Wood, Crews, like his fellow outfield teammate, is the full package. Crews is a plus defender at every outfield position. Capable of being a good defender in center field, Crews will likely be a Gold Glove candidate in the corner outfield spot where he'll be playing during the 2025 season. Offensively, Crews puts the ball in play and drives the ball to all fields with authority when on his game. With the defensive value Crews can bring on any given day, even modest MLB offensive numbers by his standards would bring about a productive rookie campaign. However, should he post an offensive season similar to, say, a Corbin Carroll rookie year, then oh boy, the sky's the limit for both Crews and the Nationals offensively. Outside of the 2 burgeoning superstars in the outfield, this lineup is surprisingly deep, and I could definitely see a top 10 lineup for the 2025 season within the realm of possibilities for them. I really liked the Nathaniel Lowe trade for the Nats. They took advantage of a Rangers team with a logjam in terms of their payroll structure and got a quality player because of it. Lowe puts in good at-bats in the middle of their lineup, will hit around 20 to 30 home runs with an on-base percentage north of .350, and play good defense over at first base. Around the infield is solid as well. Second baseman Luis Garcia Jr. is one of the more underrated players in all of baseball. Garcia doesn't strike out, plays great defense over at second base, and seemed to have found his power stroke during the 2024 season, doubling his previous total with 18. I have no complaints locking him in for 500 to 600 at-bats for the 2025 season. Next up, CJ Abrams similarly had a career year in 2024, and at only 24 years old, looks to build upon that as he gains more experience. While not the best defender at shortstop, Abrams is a monster on the base paths, and is one of only 4 shortstops this season to hit 20 home runs and steal 30 bases during the 2024 season. If Abrams can become just a league average shortstop defensively, which he certainly has the athleticism to do so, then his value rises exponentially for a Nationals team that has very good defense all around him. As for the rest of the infield, at third base and catcher, I do have some questions, but for third base, a mixture of Jose Tena, Andre Chaparro, and maybe even Brady House or other prospects could man the third base position adequately. And as for catcher, Keibert Ruiz did show a little bit of upside as a disciplined catcher during the 2024 season, and as one of the former top catching prospects in all of baseball, still deserves a shot. Josh Bell at the designated hitter position provides some much-needed right-handed slug against lefties, providing another quality bat in the lineup, and even Jacob Young provides tremendous Gold Glove caliber defense in center field. And as a burner on the base paths, any offensive value is simply icing on the cake. Overall, this Nats team is tremendously deep. Filled with discipline, power, and great defense all around on the diamond, this team is also super fast too, and I could see 4 or 5 guys steal upwards of 30 bags, and for the Nationals to be one of the top base running teams in all of baseball. Offensively, this team is actually pretty similar to the breakout Diamondbacks back in 2023 from a lineup perspective. In terms of prospects, they have their breakout young stars as James Wood and Dylan Cruz draw some comparisons to Corbin Carroll and Gabriel Moreno with their minor league pedigree, as well as their established major leaguers as well all around the infield, like CJ Abrams, Garcia, and Nathaniel Lowe to name a few. As for their philosophy, they both thrived on elite defense, athleticism, and base running. The D-backs made it all the way to the World Series with that combination in 2023, and the Nats have to take that as a good sign to be so comparable to them. However, I could also argue that the Nats definitely have a much better case to be a more complete team at this stage in their rebuild offensively as well. Their upside from a power perspective is much more than the D-backs at their stage, and they could be one of the premier power speed teams in all of baseball this season. As for the pitching rotation, while not elite, they could certainly make do, especially if their lineup performs to expectations. They already have their ace. MacKenzie Gore is one of my breakout picks for the 2025 season, and if you just look at the stuff, Gore is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. However, the command and inability to put batters away, especially near the end of the season, has been his downfall so far, preventing him from backing up his video game-like numbers in high school and the minor leagues. However, there are some encouraging signs. He throws one of the harder fastballs from the left-handed side with a pretty unique angle. He also generates some above-average whiff rates with that pitch and has a good slider and changeup at the major league level. He has the stuff to be an ace-like pitcher. And with his stuff, I'm not saying that he will be 2024 Tarek Skubal, but that is certainly within the realm of possibilities considering his talent and minor league pedigree. However, outside of MacKenzie Gore, I do have a ton of questions regarding the rest of the rotation and bullpen. Honestly, if this Nats season ends up being pretty underwhelming, I think that this could be the most likely culprit to the Nats' demise. It's not like that there's any visible holes anywhere in the rotation or bullpen, it's just that there's a lot of unknowns and question marks, at least from the players currently projected to have these big roles. From a starting standpoint, Jake Irvin had a terrific first half, but ran out of gas and ended up as roughly league average. 25-year-old Mitchell Parker was an encouraging player but still had an ERA plus below 100, and lastly Hosea Gray was a former top 100 prospect but suffered an elbow injury and may miss the majority of the 2025 season. This leaves guys like Trevor Williams, Mike Soroka, and DJ Hertz to have to take up huge roles to fill out the back half of this rotation, in which hopefully they could hold it all down, but considering their journeyman-like status, I have my questions. As for the guys in the pen, re-signing Kyle Finnegan after not tendering him really helps out the back-end dudes. While Finnegan fell apart down the stretch for the Nationals, he was an all-star and notched 38 saves for Washington in 2024. To get him on a one-year contract for just $6 million is great value for someone who can immediately slot in at the closer position. The Nationals also signed one of my favorite international free agents in NPB all-star Shinosuke Ogasawara to be a lefty back-end piece, as well as righty Lucas Sims. And as for some other dudes, they got a returning mixture of solid pieces and high upside guys with potential back-end upside. Jorge Lopez was lined up to be the closer before Finnegan resigned, and he's a great bounce-back candidate as he never really got his feet under him in the 2024 season and will look to reset in 2025. Additionally, Cade Cavalli has closer stuff as a former first-round pick with a triple-digit fastball and wipeout slider, and can start the season as a low-leverage reliever and work up to high-leverage innings as the season goes on. Lastly, Derek Law, Jose Ferrer, Eduardo Salazar, and a returning Mason Thompson are all solid middle-inning pieces. So while the Nationals' pen may not be one of the top pens in the National League, they have some intriguing pieces as well as signings that significantly boost the floor of this bullpen. And for some even more back-end depth, David Robertson is another person who could be signed for about $10 to $15 million. Going into his age 40 season, all accounts point to Robertson still having some gas left in the tank. 2024 saw an improvement in many measurements, and while he only got 4 saves, Robertson struck out more batters, limited the long ball, and walked less batters than he did in 2023. Robertson hasn't been a consistent closer since early 2023, but with an elite strikeout rate of 12.7 strikeouts per 9 innings last year, he has all the makings to reclaim his former glory and save games once again for the Nationals. So, while having some issues in the back end of their bullpen position is a clear negative, the one bright side is that there are still free agents left to fill them. And now that we've covered the projected lineup and rotation, along with their requisite upsides, what are some of the prospects that could make a surprise impact on the big league stage this season? After all, standout rookies are one of the easiest ways to see drastic improvement internally in unexpected ways. And while we already talked about Dylan Cruz, James Wood, and Cade Cavalli to an extent, there are some other dudes who could end up making a surprising impact for a young Nationals team looking to break out. For example, I talked about Brady House for a little bit during the third base segment. However, the former first-round pick deserves a bit more attention as he could play a major role over at the hot corner this year. While House struggled during the 2024 minor league season, striking out 28% of the time against upper-level competition, he's only 21 years old and has already made strides defensively with great range and a cannon arm. House also has great raw power, having sent 19 home runs during that time in the 2024 season, along with 21 doubles in 129 games. House may still be a little bit raw and may start the season in the minor leagues to work on the consistency of his contact, but he hits the ball hard and plays good enough defense for him to potentially seize the spot at third base as soon as the All-Star break if the Nats don't do anything there. And on a similar note, Jarlin Susana could also fill a similar need as an electric back-end reliever for a team desperately needing quality strikeout artists. Acquired as an 18-year-old in the Juan Soto deal, he'll only be 21 going into the 2025 season, so like House, he'll likely start out in the minor leagues. However, he's got one of the best fastballs in all of baseball, with a four-seam variant that tops out at 103 miles per hour and a nasty slider in the low 80s to play off of that. He struck out 157 batters in only 104 innings as a starter last year, but given his repertoire, he likely will pan out to be a reliever long-term to expedite his trip to the major leagues, potentially as soon as this year. And although the Nats' outfield is pretty much solidified already, Robert Hassell III could break onto the scene in similar fashion to either House or Susana. Acquired in the Juan Soto deal as well, Hassell has struggled in his minor league tenure with the Nationals so far. He hits the ball on the ground at an unacceptable rate north of 50%, and his strikeout rate is a bit concerning. That being said, he is a former top 10 pick and has a beautiful swing from the left-handed side, and he's also a positive defensively, and could serve some value as a fourth outfielder for a team in this season with added upside with his offensive potential. Lastly, to add more depth to the question marks in the Nationals' rotation and lineup, Yohandy Morales and Cayden Wallace both have cases to become the next starting third baseman for the Nationals at some point during this season. Morales, a second-round pick in the 2023 draft, and Wallace, acquired in the Hunter Harvey deal, are both similar archetypes to Brady House in a sense that they are both corner infielders with a great arm and propensity to hit the ball hard, but with some strikeout issues during the 2024 season. It may come down to who shows the most power upside during spring training of 2025 to see who wins the starting third base job. And as for that rotational depth, look for Brad Lord and Tyler Stuart to potentially lock down back-end spots. In 25 starts ranging all the way up to AAA, Lord, the former 18th round pick, had a magical season, posting a 2.43 ERA and over a strikeout per inning ranging all the way up to AAA. There is not a pitch that Lord has that is particularly overwhelming, as his main repertoire consists of a sinker in the mid-90s and a changeup. However, Lord averaged almost 6 innings per start with great numbers, and just seems to get batters out. On a similar note, Tyler Stuart also struck out over a batter per inning, and standing at 6'9", does throw from a unique arm angle that makes his low 90s fastball play much better. Stuart does walk batters at a pretty concerning rate, but if he can get his control underboard, he's pretty intriguing as a pitcher. For a middle to back-end starter, that's pretty much all you can ask for. And with good spring training numbers, both Lord and Stuart could have spots locked up going into the 2025 MLB season. And now that we've covered the Nationals going into the 2025 season, let's get into predictions. Obviously, the main barrier for the Nationals making the postseason is the otherworldly strength of the National League East, and more specifically, the National League in general. One could argue that the Phillies, Braves, and Mets are all top 5 teams in the National League, if not all of baseball, and this is bad for the Nats not only because they directly take up postseason spots in the National League, but also because these are the teams that they'll be playing most within their division. The wild card is the most likely goal for the Nationals this season, although considering the strength of their schedule, their record may not be a great indicator of the true strength of this team. In my opinion, the most likely outcome is that the Nationals end up with a win total in the mid to low 80s and are the last team out in the playoffs, strictly due to the strength of the National League. That being said, this is a great sign for Nats baseball in the future if this happens, as it means their young stars have solidified themselves onto the big league stage, and a bright future is ahead of them for years to come. Who knows, if a couple more things even break their way, they could see themselves in the playoffs as well. In that case, we learned from the 2019 squad that you only need to get in for greatness to happen. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember, if you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below new video ideas. If you like these kinds of team breakdowns, let me know if you would like another team for me to do next, and I will consider making them. And without further ado, I will see you guys all in the next video. God bless.